this Marulenga continues south on Weaver's Nest from Philemon's cut line.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to a chilly, cold, misty, lion-filled morning here at Djuma Private Game Reserve. My name's Brent. I have Brian and the thumb on camera, and we have Alex and Tara in final control. As you can see, I've got my latest fashion add-on. It has been very nippy this morning with the mist all around us. It's 16 degrees Celsius, 61 Fahrenheit, although it feels a lot colder because of the dampness in the air. For those of you who weren't with us on the Sunset Safari, we've come back to check on the Nkahuma Pride, who are still feeding on this hippo carcass. It doesn't look like the hyenas found them last night, so there's a lot of very fat, happy lions around at the moment. And for those of you who might be new, we are live. You are seeing exactly what I'm seeing in real time from wherever you are in the world. We're also interactive, so you can ask us questions about what we're seeing on the drives. So welcome to everyone, and enough of me, and I think let's get back to some fat cats. So there were a couple of questions yesterday whether the whole pride was here. They are. Doesn't she look very comfortable? It's one of the sub-adults, just over a year old, lying up with one of the adults. That looks like a very content lion. So we can actually see the whole pride from where we're sitting at the moment. So we'll start, there we go. Oh, so much effort to move. Nice thing about a cold morning like this, lots of mist. It might play a little bit, but I doubt with bellies of that size. This little one looks like it's going around greeting. Oh, bless you. Oh, I got a little piece of meat there. See, this is the nice thing about these cool misty mornings. You can see a little bit more. Oh, there we go. Bite on the tail. A little bit of playing. The lions are very, very content. They've all got very full bellies. So there's no need to be on the move or be hunting. So full of the joy of life this morning. And I mean, even from last night, the belly size has increased. And even the speed at which they're feeding has slowed down, sort of a much slower sort of chew. But we can try to show you the whole pride now. We'll start, there's one on the carcass. Or should we start behind us? Yeah, let's start behind us. So while we've been sitting here, one of the ladies got up and walked around and has just lain down right next to the vehicle. Oh, shit. There we go. It's one of the adults, one of the older adults by the looks of things. So as far as I understand from the other guide, she's between 8 and 10 years old. You can see there's a few little scars there. More than likely those scars are from her pride mates while they're feeding. They can be very, very aggressive with each other if they're hungry and on a fresh kill. You just see that sort of belly. Very fat cat. And then if we pan around, we've got another lioness still on the carcass, still feeding. Also looks to be one of the adults. Oh, someone else is coming to join. And you see by behavior, it's not really feeding behavior, it's more playful. And we've got another adult lying up there. And then just to her left, we have one very fat sub-adult who is fast asleep. And to the left of that, there's another sub-adult a little bit closer to us, lying up behind a little red bush willow. So how many are we on now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then the last two are lying a little bit further away. And there's one fat belly there, that's number 7, another one of the adult lionesses. And just above you can see that light color in the grass directly behind her. That's the young males. That's 8. So the full pride is here. They all look like they've just heard something. Oh, stalks on. So that's the nice thing about these cool mornings. Happy cats, jumping cats. Just going to move the vehicle. Try to do it quite quickly because they are playing behind us. Moving very, very slowly, so not to give that lioness lying right next to us a fright. So if the game is going to happen, it's going to happen out here to our right. So every time that sub-adult seems to move away to try to find another place to sleep, one of the adult lionesses seems like to go jump on her. So moving out of our sights again. This pride of lions lying up close to our northern boundary. So we immediately came into the area. Sorry, I have a lion traffic jam at the moment. To see if we could find them, and we found their tracks crossing into the area. And we were following the tracks, and we found where they chased a giraffe, and we're trying to figure out where the tracks went from where they chased that giraffe. And Andrew moved into the area to give us a hand looking for the lions, and he managed to spot them from the road. So we came here. This hippo probably killed early hours of yesterday morning, and we think the mother hippo was in the dam. She's probably not there now, but this is a young hippo, probably at oldest around a year old, that the lions managed to catch. And how they would have done it, they would have been, oh, there we go, come on. I think they might go down to the dam for a drink. I think we'll follow them. Oh, there's lots of games going on. Let me just speed up quickly. Some of the lions would have jumped onto the young hippo, while the others would have kept the mother busy. And this is the Nkahuma pride. 8 animals in this pride. They're probably the pride of lions we see the most on Djuma. might have a good little bit of a game down when we get closer to the water. So very happy and fat, contented lions. They've been feeding on this carcass for a full day and a full night. Still quite a bit left. I think I'll still be here for this afternoon and possibly even tomorrow morning. Really good spot for them. They've got water. They're less than 150 meters from Buffelshoek Dam. Lots of meat. And this is where, here coming. You can see now, and we've got a beautiful, cold, misty morning. So they are full of the joy of life. Lots of playing and jumping. I think there's going to be a bit more of that as they get closer to the water. Oh, let's see, we have so they're heading down to the dam. Here we go. So what we're going to do is we're going to try, as soon as this sub-adults cross the road, we're going to try to just zoom up ahead so we get them down by the water. Ahead. Oh yeah. Another line traffic jam. So I'm going to go a different way. As we might experience a little bit of breakup as I drop into a drainage line to try to get in front of the lions. Or maybe we can, let's avoid the drainage line. Let's try go through here rather. So there is a hippo still in Buffelshoek Dam I can see ahead. With a heron sitting on top of it. Come down for a drink. It would be quite hard for a crocodile to approach a lion at this part of the dam, whereas they drank off the main part of the dam wall. It would be much easier. Sitting down to avoid the attack. Oof. Let's see if the interest holds. Ears are still flat. Oh my goodness. Did you smell that, Brian? So we're directly downwind of these other two lions that are lying next to the car. And they're very, very smelly this morning. So that the stance is still there. And they didn't like it, so we heard that behind us. Nice. That's a wonderful thing about lions on cool, misty mornings. They really like to play. So guys, if you hear that click, 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 that's just my camera. Taking a few still shots. You can hear every time those lions play or move, the hippo doesn't like it. And the funny thing is, it's the old ladies who seem to be wanting to cause all the trouble this morning. It's not the young sub-adults, it's the adult females that are starting the play. Hi, Rumay, and welcome on the Sunrise Safari. Rumay is asking, how much cold, what sort of temperature of cold can a lion tolerate? Well, Rumay, they do, I'm not quite sure on the Fahrenheit. I think it's around, I've seen them in below 0 centigrade, which is somewhere around 30 Fahrenheit, if I remember correctly. I think it's 32. But they can tolerate quite cold weather. And in certain parts of Africa, like in the deserts and that, where the temperature does drop well below 0 centigrade, you do find lions. So they can tolerate cold weather. I don't know how well they would do in snow. But fortunately for these lions, I think I've only, if my memory serves me correctly, I've only personally ever seen frost in this area once in the last 10 years. But you will notice lions that do live in slightly colder climates do have often thicker coats, and that's just a regional adaptation to deal with the cold. Thirsty. Nothing like a bit of smelly Buffalo's Hook Dam water to wash down a hippo. I probably think these dams now, as we go into the dry season, but definitely later in the dry season, are almost more elephant urine than water, and buffalo urine and hippo urine. But for a lion, that's as good as a really, really nice glass of wine. Oh, stretch. No, flop. Add some lion urine to the mix. Let it ferment for a while. Gotta let it age correctly. Buffalo's Hook Dam water. Hi, Donna. Welcome on Sunrise Safari. Donna is saying she's quite surprised that there are no hyenas here yet. And what's my opinion on that? Me too, Donna. Although the hyenas, I found out from Scott yesterday, have moved dens to a den further from here. So maybe they just didn't come through this area. And there hasn't been much wind. So the smell hasn't permeated, and that kill's very fresh. So even though if you're right close to it, it can be a little bit smelly. I don't think that scent is traveling for a long distance. He's going to reposition the vehicle quickly. Young male, but with the grey heron sitting on the head. But we will come have a look a little bit later. Let's keep up with those lions before it gets hot, because the sky is clearing really quickly at the moment. Lots of blue coming through. Bearing her feces, just like your domestic cat would with a litter box, although lions don't actually behave like that too often. I know this pride has had some epic battles with hyenas before, so that might be a reaction to that.
Jumper involved, services track to Bomb Junction.
Just wondering whether she might go down to the water. I don't think she's the same one that was. I think she might be the one that's feeding, not the same ones we were watching earlier. He's walking just off the front of our vehicle here. I think we're going to change our plans. I'm going to wait for her to pass, and we're going to shoot back down to the water. Maybe those two sub-adults are going to be the ambush, laying an ambush and not being victim to an ambush. So we've got these two lying down here next to the dam, and there's an adult lioness. She spotted the ambush, so she's changing her direction, but still coming down behind us. Hi, Bonnie. Welcome on the Sunrise Safari. Bonnie would like to know, would they leave the meat for the other predators, or would one or two always stay around? Bonnie, lions are not going to leave the meat for any other predator. They might leave some scraps that a hyena might be able to take advantage of. Here we go. The stalk is on. See submissive behavior there, ears flat, trying to keep the head down. Oof. Oh, hasn't this been wonderful this morning? We're still going to hang around here for a little bit, but I don't think there's going to be too much action for now. So I think we're going to cross over to Scotty, see what he's been up to, and see what he's found for you this morning. And we will be back with you a little bit later.
Herd of elephants. It's quite thick around us, so I'm just going to wait a few moments. There are some approaching from in front of us, and we should get some great views of them. And we just have to be a little bit patient. But I'm sure you're all going to be very happy to take some time off from what sounded like a cracking start to the morning with Brent and some playful Nkuhuma lions. So very happy that they've been providing you with some entertainment, as lions can sometimes be extremely lazy, especially if they've been feeding on a large quantity of meat, as they have been for the last 24 hours. I am just going to reposition ever so slightly, and like most animals, the youngsters can often be the most playful, and there's 3 of them that appear to be having some sort of fun. I'm not sure what they're doing. And we were brought into this area by the tracks of a young male leopard. Also, thank you very much for those of you who sent through the reports of a leopard that was seen on the Djuma 24-hour waterhole camera at 5 a.m. We found his tracks at 6:30 heading away from the dam down Philemon's Dip, and followed his tracks, which continued down the road, but then veered off into a big block. But his general direction was towards Treehouse Dam, so we went past the dam. He didn't appear to have popped out, and then we heard these elephants feeding nearby. So we decided to come and sit with them, and while we sit with the elephants, we can listen.
Sorry, go again, Andrew.
To any alarm calls that may be going on. Oh, cute, look at those two. Look like they
Andrew.
identical twins. Very, very similar size. It is very uncommon for elephants to have twins, so that's not likely.
Same position, coming of Louisville on Savage's track, junction with Philemon's cut line. Okay, good, thanks. I think you're
and VM and I are hoping to break our spell. We haven't managed to track down a cat in the last 4 drives, and we're hoping to break that trend this morning. We were really exciting following these fresh male leopard tracks, but the excitement soon dissipated when his tracks veered off the road, and he could be doing anything in one of these bushy blocks. He could be sleeping, he could be hunting, he could have already made a kill. I'm hoping that he will continue towards the dam, though, and that's where we're going to intercept him shortly, I hope. Failing that, I may have to spend some time on foot off the road and see if we can't find him. So I'm fairly certain this is 2 separate herds that have just converged on one another. And with elephants, they will come and go and pass by other herds with no animosity. They are not territorial, and therefore you can often see large congregations of various herds in similar areas. The only time where there may be some aggression is in times of drought or famine. When there's not a lot of food or water around, they may get a little bit aggressive and even chase off other animals from waterholes, protecting their water. But that's certainly not the scenario at the moment. And as you can see, they're very relaxed. Every few seconds I am just stopping and really focusing on listening as intently as I can for any signs that could lead us to some action. But all I'm hearing is the morning chorus, and the birds are certainly having a vocal morning. It really is interesting how it varies from day to day. Some days are a lot quieter than others, but this morning there's a cacophony of bird calls ringing out. Well, there's just one other group of Ellies approaching from in front of us, and they are heading straight towards us, so we're going to spend a few more minutes here for certain. Thereafter, I may shoot back towards Treehouse Dam just for a quick inspection, and we can always come back and rejoin the herds of elephants. But I am very, very interested in trying to find this leopard so we can all spend some time with it. It's always entertaining watching young elephants try and understand and learn how exactly to use that trunk of theirs. It's an incredibly intricate part of their anatomy, and there are hundreds and thousands of different muscle fascicles that allow the trunk to bend and twist every which way. And this takes the youngsters some time to get used to. This big old cow, on the other hand, has mastered the art, and as you can see, she can casually pick up even the smallest of little morsels with their trunk. Here we can see her sniffing intently, and they will use their sense of smell to find water as well as tasty morsels and different plants. I think she's heavily pregnant. You can see she's lactating, and her mammaries are extremely enlarged between her front legs. And due to the fact that she could be pregnant, and I think she is, I'm going to factor that into the equation in case she may be a little bit temperamental and moody. And it's a very long gestation period. It's 22 months that they carry their young for before they give birth. Oh, look at that little baby back there. Cute. Interestingly enough, it appears like another cow has come in and almost chased that one away. So maybe I was wrong about elephants and not being aggressive to one another this morning, because this cow holding her head up with a branch in her mouth is the one that chased off the cow on the left of your screen. For one moment I thought it was us that the initial cow was nervous of, but it was some kind of a dominance display, possibly between two matriarchs. They do have these massive, massive ears, which interestingly enough make up 20% of the surface area of their body. It's a hard sum to believe, but the fact that their ears are double-sided obviously contributes greatly to that. And the reason why they have these massive ears is not for hearing, it's actually for cooling. But this morning, because it is nice and cool, they are not fanning the ears and pumping liters and liters of blood through a network of veins to keep cool, because the weather's nice and cool. But as it heats up today, we'll notice their ears beginning to flap more and more. I'm thinking of repositioning. I've got a very good idea of which direction the elephants are moving in, and we are going to be able to get back onto the road, check out what's happening at Treehouse Dam. Hopefully this leopard's going to be there. Failing that, we'll come back and rejoin the elephants. us into a good position. Give me a moment or two, and then we're going to be in for a wonderful, wonderful sighting. I'm guessing there's about 25 or 30 elephants that are making their way directly towards us. We just have to be a little bit patient and allow them some time to come through a small belt or band of thicker vegetation before we enjoy a great sighting of them. I think this is the place to wait. Now I'm watching this female as she approaches, and I'm watching her tail. She's actually got a very, very hairy tail. But I'm not too interested in the hairs. I'm interested more in the way she holds that tail. Because if they hold it up horizontally and kink it as they approach, it means that they may be a little bit uneasy. But hers is hanging down, and she appears to have calmed down, but there was an initial little kink in her tail, which is a great behavioral indicator. Well, this is going to be an absolute treat. There's so many elephants on their way past us. Not a worry in the world.
She's got a beard.
She is an exceptionally hairy elephant, this lady. She's got a beard and one of the hairiest elephant's tails I've seen in a long time. We'll show you some others so that you get a comparison. Having said that, though, this whole herd seems to be going to a very good hairdresser, because either that or they're very healthy, because they certainly are a hairy bunch. There's one female here that appears to be in season. You can tell this simply by looking between their back legs, and as she walks off, VM's panning onto her now. You will notice that there's a little bit of moisture down there, and that is an indicator that she could well be in season. So I'm wondering if there's going to be any large bulls following, and I think I may have just seen one. So, we just need to be patient, but I'm fairly certain there is a bull approaching from the left. Don't be confused by this big old cow. She's a beautiful old lady, this. I'm guessing that she's old because you'll notice the temporal dents above her eyeballs are very pronounced. Now, the deeper those dents become, the older the elephant is said to be. Like humans, a lot will depend on the individual, but you can almost relate it to humans and how we age. She's got a tiny little girl following behind her, though. Or was it a boy? I'm not too sure, but let's see if it gives us some attitude. I think we could be in luck. It seems to be getting ready. Uh-oh. Hello. Come on. Come and chase us. No, not worth it. Certainly thinking about it. Come on. Come on. Come and chase us. Come on. Keep coming. Keep coming. Certainly thinking about it, but not willing to commit just yet. Well, aren't they such wonderful, wonderful creatures? And here's a bull. It's not a very big bull, but let's see if he gives us a bit of attitude. Hello, boys. Good luck with the lady, if that's who you're pursuing. I think he's too small, though, to realistically mate with that female that appeared to be in season. Well, I could be wrong, but maybe she's just coming into season or going out of season, and the bigger, more dominant bulls have already come or are potentially on their way. Not an easy job for VM. There's so much going on here, and that, coupled with the fact that the vegetation is very thick, is making for some testing camera work. Well, I'm very glad we did reposition, because we got extremely fortunate in this open clearing that they moved through. But now we're going to head to the dam quickly, see if there's any sign of a young male leopard whose tracks we had this morning. They veered off a road into a thick bushy block, just as the elephants have done. And while we go and check up on that, I think you should go on and see what Brent's been up to with the lion for the last 20 minutes or so. We'll see you later.
Welcome back, everyone. As you can see, Nkuhuma Pride's finished their drink and they've moved back on to feeding on the carcass. Oh, here comes the young male. So for those of you who might have just joined us or not sure what's going on, we're with the Nkuhuma Pride. They killed a young hippo probably in the early hours of yesterday morning. They've eaten probably 60% of the carcass so far. And now we've got some quite playful, fat and happy cats because there's no stress. They've got water just below them. They're right near Buffelshoek Dam. And they've got lots of meat, full bellies. So we've been lucky. We've experienced quite a bit of playing this morning. Some mock hunts, stalking and jumping on each other.
Mobile stations with that wobble.
Sorry guys, I just need to take the radio. Go ahead.
Are you within Nkuhumas or are they not there?
Nkuhumas are still in the same position. There's one station here, one making their way. You're more than welcome to become the third.
Thank you. I'd like to make my way. I'm approaching Buffelshoek Dam.
Copy. You can move straight in. Very, very relaxed cat. Almost using the hippo carcass as a pillow at the moment. Such a big belly. I think they're probably going to be here tonight. I think it's probably going to be quite almost finished by tomorrow morning. But hyenas definitely, if they smell this, there could be some serious action going on. But I don't think they've smelt it. The hyenas seem to be operating down in the south and west of the wall. Sorry, there's a lioness lying upwind of us, and she's very smelly this morning. One of the more interesting things driving back in here with Brian, we just went through now, is avoiding the landmines. So there's large piles of lion dung all over the place, and if you accidentally drive over lion dung, firstly, you have to live with that smell for the rest of the drive, and it is incredibly smelly. I mean, it's basically rotting meat or digested meat. And secondly, if you try to approach any other animal later in the drive, like for buffalo, for example, they'll smell it and they'll just run away from you. So you have to be quite careful when you're driving around a carcass like this, because there's landmines everywhere. Smack on the nose. Hi, Terry from California. Welcome on the Sunrise Safari. Terry, I'll get your question now. You saw a little bit of what a lion kill would actually be like if it was fresh and they were hungry. And now imagine that aggression, but times it by about 100. They will really beat each other up, bite each other, fight, and we obviously see lions together quite often, and doing that social grooming, and they're very sort of friendly towards each other until dinner time comes. And they can be very, very aggressive. And a lot of the scars and cuts you see on lions are from fighting amongst each other. Sorry, Terry, I'm back to your question now. Just while we had that little bit of interaction, I wanted to explain it a little bit better. So Terry would like to know if one of the members of the Lion Pride got injured while hunting, would the other lions wait for it, or would they leave it behind? Terry, it depends. Most of the time, that injured animal would fall behind after a while. In some cases, I have seen them wait for an injured animal, but it is unusual. But what would happen is that the way that animal would recover is by catching up with the pride eventually and being able to feed off a carcass that the pride had killed. Whereas if you're a solitary animal like a leopard, that doesn't happen. So an injury is far more threatening to an animal like a leopard than it is to a lion, because they're a social cat. They have the ability to come feed on a carcass that has been killed by other members of the pride. But the pride's not normally going to sort of hang around for a long time waiting for that animal. So guys, we've got the other game drive vehicles in here now. I'm just going to reposition so they can come in and have a good look. Where's that other? Just going to move a little bit around to the other side of the carcass so the other vehicles can also get a good view. Brian, you watching for landmines? Stop moving. So we've had these lines all to ourselves for so long. We're just going to let some of the other vehicles come through and get a nice good view. We've still got a good view from where we are. Guys, we're going to cross across to Scott quickly, see what he's been up to this morning, and we'll be back with you a little bit later, especially while there might be the last sort of cool of the morning. We might still see some more activity from the lions. So over to Scott. Enjoy your time with him.
Welcome back, everyone. And We didn't find the predator we were looking for here at Treehouse Dam, but we found another one. And I'm going to leave it up to you to tell me which bird of prey this is. It's not an easy one. But send your answers through to questions@wildearth.tv, or on Twitter you could hashtag SafariLIVE. Now, it appears to look quite intent on hunting, and that is why VM and myself have decided to stay here. It's something that I certainly have not shared with you and only seen on a handful of occasions, this specific bird of prey catching its food. And we're taking a little bit of a gamble by sitting here. It allows us to hopefully see this bird hunting, but it also allows us to stop and listen and be quiet. And hopefully the bush will be able to tell us where a young male leopard is that is certainly in this area, but there are so many hiding places that we can't work out where exactly it is. As VM zooms out, you will notice where this eagle is looking for its potential food this morning. He's looking down into the dam. Now that's going to help you to identify which bird it is. So if some of you were battling to identify it, this will certainly be a big clue in helping you to establish which bird of prey it is. There's a very large mammal in the middle of the dam. But we cannot see very much of it at the moment. Just a small portion of its back, and occasionally its nostrils will pop out on the left-hand side of that lump of back. And that's where this hippo will spend the whole day relaxing. They are nocturnal grazers, so they head out of the water. They're the nostrils. And they can stay for about 3 to 5 minutes underwater. This one seems to be breathing more regularly than that, but when required to, they can hold their breath for a long period of time. There's not many humans who can hold their breath for 3 to 5 minutes, that's for certain. We were discussing the incredible abilities of this bird of prey in order for it to catch its food, which is fish, understandably, because that's where he's looking down into this dam. And it's an incredible feat that they managed to pull off, because this water is so murky that they can't see into it very far. And I'm very interested to try and show you one of them catching a fish. The fish in this dam are predominantly catfish or barbel, which occur almost throughout the world, as far as I'm aware, but you do get different species and variations depending on where you are, most of which have all got cat-like whiskers, hence their name, catfish. A few months ago at this same dam, we saw the catfish breathing, and you can literally see them coming up and opening their mouth to get fresh air, and they do have the ability to process oxygen and can spend hours on land and then be returned to the water with no problems. So they're a very unique fish, and only when they are breathing would make for an easy opportunity for this fish eagle to, oh, well, there we go, I just gave away which bird it is. And I'm sure the final control will send through the answers. down to Suzanne and Joanne. You were the first two to get the correct answer, and it's a juvenile African fish eagle. It can be mistaken with a bird called an osprey, but an osprey has got a yellow eye, whereas the fish eagles have got a dark brown eye. So very well done to Joanne and Susan Wolf. Because it's not an easy bird to identify, and they'll take about 4 to 5 years to get their adult plumage, and some raptors and birds of prey take even longer than that to get their adult plumage, so it's a long period of time that they fly around in their juvenile clothing. Beautiful, beautiful fruit-eating pigeons that have a very parrot-like coloration. They've got bright green feathers as well as yellow feet and yellow beaks. And as we go deeper into the winter, we will get better and better visuals of these birds, who are renowned for lazy mornings, sunning themselves in open trees. In the summertime, they are actually quite secretive, and you don't get to see many good views of them, but the winter will provide us with some great views of these birds. And it was yesterday afternoon that we saw a gabar goshawk flying away with a kill, and I think that it could have caught one of these African green pigeons. The only thing I could see on the kill was the bright yellow legs, which not too many birds have in this area. All the feathers had been plucked off by the goshawk, so I was just going on leg coloration and the size of the body that remained after the goshawk had fed on it for a small while. Well, the tricky situation that Vim and myself found ourselves in now is there certainly is a chance that this eagle will fly down and catch a fish, but how long that will take, I certainly don't know. And I think we might just spend a few more minutes here. If we see any action, we'll be sure to let Alex and Tara in the final control know. But for now, I think it might be more entertaining with the Lions and Brent, so we'll catch up with you a little bit later.
Welcome back, guys. We're still sitting with the Nkuma Pride. There's 3 of them feeding, so there's a little bit of growling and that going on, so a little bit more interesting than it was earlier when there was just a single animal feeding. So we're going to keep an eye on them. The young male's in there, so he's trying to hog as much of the carcass as possible, sort of using his large size. And he's not even eating, he's just sort of putting his body in the way to stop the others eating from the position where he is. They are making short work of this hippo. He's given up the defense of that corner. And you see that huge belly, it almost sways from side to side as he walks away. See us there. We were a bit of playing. The morning's still quite cool, but the mist has burnt off and the sun's starting to shine. There we go. Still a bit of growling around the carcass. There's another lioness coming in. See if she makes it all the way before. I don't think so. I think she's going to flop before she gets there. Doof. There's a bird call going in the background that one of my favorite bird calls. I don't know if you guys can pick it up on the mics, but you can hear it. And to see if anyone out there can remember what bird that is. Really going at it this morning. So if you guys recognize that call, you can send your answers to questions@wildearth.tv, or you can just use the hashtag SafariLIVE if you're on Twitter. One of the more beautiful birds in that family. Oh, they're really going. Oh. Nice beautiful light coming through. The sun's burnt off the mist. And the clouds are dissipating at a rate of knots. So just a quick recap for those who might have just joined or missed out on the last two live safaris. Yesterday morning, I heard a report about the Nkuhuma Pride being about 200 meters to the north of our northern boundary. So Brian and I came down, we found the tracks, we tracked them for a long time, and then we found where they'd chased a giraffe. And while we were trying to figure out which way they'd gone, Andrew came around and checked around Buffelshoek Dam, and Andrew found them for us. He did some of the hard work for us yesterday. So then all 8 members of the Nkuhuma Pride are here. And in the early hours of yesterday morning, from what we could see from the tracks and that, they killed a sub-adult hippo, probably no older than a year old. And they've now been feeding on it solidly for a full day and night. And they're definitely probably going to be here for the rest of today as well. Amazing, you can have a look at how much little meat is left on that back hip bone. They've managed to eat almost all that meat around the hip bone there. You can see the hip joints where the legs would have gone in, and she's still trying to get the rest of that meat off there. And for those of you who might be new to Safari Live, we are live. You are seeing this live from wherever you are in the world at the same time we are. We also are interactive, so you can ask us questions about what's going on. You can do that by emailing questions@wildearth.tv, or if you're on Twitter, just use the hashtag SafariLive. Well done. Seems like someone's got the... So it seems like I've been teaching you guys too well. Most of you got that Franklin right without even trying. It was a Shelley's Franklin, my favorite Franklin in this area. Let's have a quick look there. Number 3, very, very beautiful Franklin, but probably one of the more difficult with the Koki to see in this area. But well done, everyone. Sure. I'm going to have to ask you harder questions from now on. And it is such a good call. To drink a beer, to drink a beer, to drink a beer. Hi, Deborah from Ontario. Welcome on the Sunrise Safari. Deborah's asking, do hippo get TB like buffalo? Deborah, I've never actually heard of hippo being a carrier of TB. So I don't think so, but I can't be 100% sure. For those of you who might not know why we're talking about TB or tuberculosis, the buffalo populations in this part of Southern Africa are all carriers of bovine TB. And lions can contract a sort of modified version of feline TB from feeding off those buffalo carcasses, and that manifests in different things. And you can, we can't really see it now, but one of the subadults has got a sort of large growth on her elbow, and that is one of the ways TB manifests in large felines. And in a lot of cases, it's not the end of the world if they do catch it, and a lot of lions can live out a full life while being carriers of TB. I'm pretty sure most of these lions will all carry feline TB, just in certain individuals where there might be a bit of not quite as strong or in as good condition when they're young or when they're old, that TB can manifest and end their life prematurely. But it is a natural thing that is amongst the animals here. It's very difficult to figure out where it came from. I'm not 100% sure, but it is something, and it doesn't really affect the lion dynamics, apart from if they're young and weak, or as they get older, it might take an extra few months off their life. So they've eaten the majority of that hippo, so probably a quarter left around the neck and head. I'm sure they'll get stuck into that during the day as well. Sorry if you guys hear some of those clicks. It's just my camera taking a few snaps. Being moved, was trying to sleep next to the carcass, but now with the pulling, sort of got a rude awakening. So if you have a look on her shoulder, there on her elbow, you can see there's a slight growth. And that's what I was talking about, how tuberculosis manifests in large felids. You can see there. But as you can see, other than that, she looks to be in quite good condition. Fat belly, full of hippo. So quite a happy cat. Hi, Anna Marie. Welcome on the Sunrise Safari. Anna Marie from New Jersey would like to know that because that young male from the Nkuhuma Pride is getting so large, how long do I think he's got left with the Pride? Anna Marie, that's a very good question, and it is a very variable answer. It completely depends on the dominant males. I've seen lions chased out at the age he is now, but I probably think he's still got a fair few months before he's completely pushed out of the Pride. To quote The Clash, and it's completely up to you guys. We'll go with the majority. Should we stay or should we go? So those who'd like to stay or go, please. It is getting a bit warmer now, so a lot of that nice activity we got in the early morning mist is probably done for the day. I think for the majority, the rest of the day, they're probably going to be very, very static. Flat cats. And we've been incredibly spoilt to be able to spend as much time with these lions as we have. Hi, Catherine from Texas. Welcome on the Sunrise Safari. Catherine would like to know, do lions contract feline leukemia? Catherine, to be completely honest, I've never heard of them contracting feline leukemia, and I think the only place you'd actually be able to find out if a lion had feline leukemia would be in captive animals that are kept in zoos. I haven't spent much time with captive animals, so I'm not actually sure, because in the wild there's been quite a lot of research done on the TV, but I don't think I've heard any research done on leukemia in lions. I'll have to ask you guys if you can find anything on the internet, if there's any record of leukemia in lions, and please let me know, and you can do that by sending an email to questions@wildearth.tv, or you can just use the hashtag SafariLIVE on Twitter. Hi, Dave. Welcome on Sunrise Safari with us this morning. Dave would like to know, does rabies affect lions? Yes, most definitely, Dave. Rabies would affect lions if one of them was bitten by a rabid animal. One of the biggest dangers with rabies with any social animal, or especially a social predator, like a lion, because of their feeding habits, we saw how aggressive they can be around that. So while the rabies is manifesting, that can spread through a whole pride and wipe them out very quickly. So rabies is a threat to lions, but they can contract it. But I haven't heard of any rabies cases in lions in this area. Unfortunately, if there was a case with any of our animals here, if one was found with rabies, because rabies can spread so quickly, and especially among social predators, we would unfortunately report through to the reserve, and they would euthanize to stop the spread of that disease through to the rest of the population. We're gonna pass over to Scotty and see what he's been up to.
welcome back everyone, and I trust you are having an entertaining time with Brent and the Lion. We have had no joy in finding any other action since we left the Fish Eagle. It may take a long time before that bird decides to fly down and try and catch a fish, so we decided to come and look for any other action out here. I decided to head past Twin Dams, which is the area where apparently Karula has been spending a little bit of time further south of there on another property, but she could well come back in. And for those of you who weren't on yesterday's Sunset Drive, I did get an update from Roy, one of the guides at Arethusa, that he's confident that he saw suckling marks where Karula's cubs would have been nursing around her nipples. Now, with information like this, obviously it's very exciting, but I prefer to believe it when I see it personally, and that's why I headed there in the hope that we'd be able to find Karula, a female leopard. Either way, good prospects though, and won't it be wonderful if she does have cubs? But we didn't find any tracks or sign of her. And we are now slowly making our way back into the area where we last had tracks of a young male leopard who was apparently seen drinking at the Djuma waterhole, and some people were lucky enough to see that. And we got an update from you, and thanks very much for that update on what was seen at the waterhole. It had an hour and a half head start basically. Probably an hour. We got mobile out of the camp at about 6, just after 6, and it was seen at the dam at 5. And in that period of time, a leopard can move a long distance. It could quite also very easily be asleep somewhere to our left, and that's where his tracks set it off. It was coming down this road towards us, and then just up ahead of where we are now, they veered off to the left. Now, that would, in all likelihood, that direction would take the leopard towards Treehouse Dam, where we've spent a lot of time this morning, and there have been no alarm calls and no tracks of the leopard coming out. So now it's time to try and search deeper into this block, but I'm going to do one thing first, and I'm going to loop around every road that encompasses this block to our left. It's quite a big block. The leopard is here somewhere, and part of the adventure and part of the fun is the searching and finding of the animal, not just looking at them. They can often be associated with carcasses and kills. In this case, however, I simply think it's taking some time to warm up and wait for the hot thermals to start rising off the earth before it starts searching for its next meal. They typically perch themselves in more comfortable trees like this with no obstructions and no foliage when they are relaxing. However, if you're to find them in a tree with leaves and branches, it would be more likely that it would be perched in that less comfortable tree for ease of flight, due to the fact that it would be drawn to a kill. We don't often get you very good visuals of these birds, so this is one of the better ones. And now you get to see the parrot that I so often point out when we hear its shrieking call. And it's the only parrot we get in this area. It's sitting amongst a bunch of weavers' nests. The nests are no longer in use, and the weaver birds nest in the summer over December and January. Absolutely beautiful. I'm going to try and get closer. I wonder where the other parrot is that he's talking to. There were two calling earlier. We can only see one now.
There it is. That was a tree.
Ah, well spotted, VM. That'll explain it. Right here. It could well be a mating pair. They are monogamous and breed for life, the brown-headed parrots. And the brown-headed parrot is the one on the bottom right. We do get another two parrots in the Greater Kruger National Park, the grey-headed and the Mayers. But they occur further north into the park. And are not as numerous as the brown-headed. Okay, well, glad we got that close-up view of a beautiful, beautiful bird that we typically don't get to show you very close.
Aromatic smell that comes from them. Something like a smell, here we go, Brian, you might find in your kitchen. You can cook with this. I've cooked with this many times. I've used it on lamb. I've used it on...
It's delicious.
It is. You can even eat the leaves if you want.
Yeah.
You want to try one? Here we go. So I've used it on lamb. I've used it in salads. It is a really, really nice little plant. And the reason we've got this nice flower and stuff that's just come out again is because of that late rain we've had. That has caused this to have a late sort of sprout. Very nice one. So who can tell me what this is? You can send your answers to questions@wildearth.tv. So who can tell me what this is? You can send your answers to questions@wildearth.tv or just use the hashtag SafariLIVE. So who can tell me what this is? You can send your answers to questions@wildearth.tv or just use the hashtag SafariLIVE on Twitter. Last station, please go again. Copy, thanks very much. You know what road I haven't done in an age is Rebecca's. I cannot actually remember the last time I took it. So why don't we take a gander, go there on a, that should take us up to the hyena den. Still got that lovely taste in my mouth. So even though the sun's out, it's still quite a cool morning. I'd probably guess temperature's risen to around 21, 20 degrees Celsius. If I remember correctly, it's about 70 odd Fahrenheit. one really nice thing about this weather dropping quite a bit and getting colder. You notice I'm not swatting myself consistently anymore. It seems like the cold weather might have slowed the flies down a bit, which is very, very good for me at least. I can stop beating myself up twice a day on game drive. Doesn't sound like anyone's got it right yet. We've had rosemary and sage, which is not correct. But you are on the right track. It seems like we're having a little leopard drought on Djuma at the moment. I know Scotty's been following up with some tracks, but I haven't seen any tracks, and I've covered quite a big distance today already. So I wonder where they're all hiding. Are they in the drainage lines with a nice big impala up a tree? Or if they're gone visiting friends somewhere else? I'm sure they're around. We're just going to have to figure out where they are, and hopefully we will find some. Oh, we've got some jokers out there. It said rosemary with a hint of buttered popcorn, implying that Brian and I just ate a plant that a leopard urinated on. No, it's not rosemary, but come on guys, I thought this one would be quick and easy. And we're not going to get much more opportunities to do flowers as we go into the dry season. There's very few flowers that are flowering in the dry season. And this late little bit of rain will give us a few wildflowers to look at. I'll keep checking. We had that roadside pimpernel the other day. Oh, we've got another answer in, but it's mint. No, not mint, I'm afraid. Gee, guys, I thought you'd get this by now. Time either. George in Illinois, well done. It is wild basil, one of the Onicum species. George Ann, sorry. Well done, George Ann. Wild basil. Now, I just saw a head pop into this termite mound. Oh, there we go. Here we go, little heads popping up. With one of my favorite little critters, a dwarf mongoose. The smallest member of the carnivore family in Africa. So you can hear me making all sorts of funny noises. I'm just having a chat with the mongoose. So they pop their heads out of the holes and come have a look at us, like that one's doing there now. So this termite mound looks like to be one of their main homes. The reason I tell that is if you go just a little bit to the right there, Brian, you can see the dung. It's zoom in on the midden. So you can see the dung midden there. And that's a good sign that this is not just a bolt hole that they use in emergencies while they're moving around. This is actually probably one of their main sort of residents. And Brian and I were actually talking while you guys were with Scotty how nice it would be to see some dwarf mongoose this morning, and especially because it's been quite cold. They were going to always be getting up a little bit later. And when you find them at their sort of home, they quite often nice bask in the sun and have a little chat and do some greeting. So there we go, King of the Castle, checking us out. Oh, no, 3, 4 popping out of that same hole. Wonderful little guys. Agit is the Zulu name for them. 6 now. 6. It's a pile of mongoose. Oh, the sun's gone away. They fell back down the hole. They're trying to bask, get some nice early morning warmth. Oh, so many. So, I know I have asked this question before, but who can remember what the collective noun, original collective noun for mongooses is? Mongoose. Jeez, I'm having a whale of a time here. What is the original collective noun for mongoose? You can send your answers to questions at wildearth.tv, or you can just use the hashtag SafariLIVE on Twitter. So how's that? This morning we've seen the biggest African carnivore and the smallest African carnivore. See, they're getting a lot more used to us. Now, the reason they all jumped into the hole there, looked a bit nervous, there was an aeroplane flying over, and obviously for an animal like a dwarf mongoose, most often death comes from above in the terms of predatory birds, which are probably the biggest threat to them. So they're very, very active and alert and watching the sky. I think the most we've seen is 7 at the moment, but I'm probably sure there's probably between 7, we know for sure, and maybe even up to 20 in this group. The average size for a group, I'm not going to give it away, of mongoose is about 15 to 20. You can see they've now completely relaxed to us, not worried, coming out of the hole, sitting out in front, catching some rays. Playing King of the Castle. I must say, I like the mongoose's plan. And sitting here with the sun on my back's really, really nice. After being chilly most of the morning. See how he's watching the sky. Even when a starling flies over, very quick to look skywards, make sure that there isn't a predatory bird around. They are very cute. Watching this guy, every time you can hear the starlings calling, every time the starling flies off. They have a very similar social structure to meerkats, not quite exactly the same, but you'll have sentries. So this guy's sitting up high while the others are still coming out of the hole. He's acting as a lookout. I'm quite sure there's probably another lookout on the other side of the termite mound that we can't see. Just making sure that the group is safe. I've done it before where I've given away the answer by accident while talking about it, so I'm not going to do that today. Also, such great photography subjects, especially if you sit quietly like we've been doing.
Standing by. So I'm looking for Brent, but a general update. Last tracks I had of this Madonna Ingwe are on Zoe's where tele access.
So guys, just listening to the radio.
Scalago shortcuts. It could be the same male that was seen drinking at Gari Dam at 5 a.m. and then continued south on Weaver's Nest from there. I'm still following up.
Standing by, Scott.
Just to let you know, I could be tracking the same leopard that was reportedly seen at Gari Dam at 5 a.m. The last track was
for a group of mongoose is a business of mongoose. Judy from Ottawa, sorry. Well done, Judy. I did see some pups or cubs. I'm not sure whether mongoose are pups or cubs. And I'm hoping they come out of the hole. Okay. Well, Lynn's asked me to show how small they are in real life. Really big dwarf mongoose would fit in my hand. Probably most of them are a little bit smaller than that. I'm hoping those little guys decide to pop out. I've just noticed their heads. It'll take a little bit longer for the youngsters to pop out. There we go. I'm just having a quick look. 4, 6. And whether I just gone blank whether mongooses are called cubs or pups. I think they are pups, but I'm just going to double check that quickly. So we get a few different species of mongoose in this area. The most common is of the social mongoose is the dwarf mongoose. We also do get banded mongoose here, which are quite a lot bigger. And then the slender mongoose, which is a solitary mongoose. And then one of the big nocturnal mongoose. Sorry, just, yeah. A second here. No, we don't want that one. we are looking for. Oh, there we go, in the right zone now. Dwarf mongoose. Ah, George, thanks very much. Mongoose pup. I did think it was pup, but I just went a bit blank there. Barbara from Chicago, welcome on the Sunrise Safari. Barbara wants to know, why are their eyes so small, and is their vision poor? Barbara, their eyes aren't particularly small in relation to their body, and their eyesight is very, very good, and so is their hearing. They are incredibly alert little animals. Being that small, lots of things can eat you. You ready? Just come off to the left a little bit, Brian. You see those two small, there he goes. Off, doof, doof, sorry. A little bit late warning you. There he is, making sure there's no predatory birds around, keeping an eye out while the others move from their sort of home base out to the next sort of safe area so they can start foraging. There we go. Oh, you got him, Brian. Chop, 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 you see? And then off to the next island of safety, while one stays back and keeps a watch for predatory birds. So that's how they move between little thickets and areas where they feed. And also, if one of the sentries had to give an alarm call to notify them that there was a predator around, they would all literally bolt for the closest safe hole. Nice camera work there, Brian.
Especially after the wonderful sighting we had of a large herd of elephant this morning. Also head past Juma Dam a little bit earlier as the leopard tracks took us in that direction. There was no sign of this herd of elephant coming out there, so maybe they've changed direction or are still on the way there. But when we last saw them in this area, they were heading straight towards the Juma waterhole. This isn't something you see every day. A big male kudu lying down chewing the cud. And it is when they are spending time chewing the cud. A lot of the ruminants are basically sleeping. A lot of the animals out here don't have the luxury of passing out like we do as humans. And they have to remain conscious of their surroundings, but in this state, the kudu will almost be sleeping. They still need to listen and chew the cud for any threats, and also in order to process moral quarantine just the other day, and interesting to now see a kudu lying there. Testing my thumbs. There's just a couple of minutes left until the end of the sunrise drive, and I hope you've all enjoyed yourself. I certainly have. And even though it is the 5th drive now in a row that I have yet to find what I'm looking for, that's all part of the adventure, and I certainly am looking forward to hopefully finding you all a leopard to look at this afternoon. I may have to go out between drives and see if we don't have any more luck doing that. But thankfully, Brent's hard work tracking down the lions yesterday has paid off and made for some great viewing over the last 24 hours. Well, I think that this is the 5th time I've come here this morning, hoping that there would be a leopard at some point, but the luck hasn't been with us today. But certainly we'll probably start the afternoon drive in this area, because hopefully the leopard would have come to drink, or who knows, maybe I'm completely wrong and it's headed in another direction. Anyway, very big thank you from myself, Scott Dyson, and to VM on camera, Alex and Tara in final control, and Brent and Brian on the other vehicle. It's so much fun being out here with all of you, and we'll just leave you